Good morning. You're listening to Instant Breakfast New Brunswick Edition. I'm your host, John Heinstein. Tammie couldn't be here today, so I guess that means you're going to be getting me completely unfiltered. You're listening to CHSR 97.9 FM. So, as I was putting together my song list today, it came to my attention that metal has been seriously underrepresented in our playlists. So, I think this morning we're going to remedy that. So we have a brand new album, just came out a few weeks ago, 2018, from a band called Cusser. They're out of Fredericton. And this is a self-titled album, Cusser. Two-piece band, a couple of guys who have been in the Fredericton metal scene for quite a while. There's Tammie Blizzard, who does drums and vocals, and he used to play in a long-standing Fredericton band. We're going to listen to these guys afterwards, named Hard Charger. Also playing in Cusser is Mark Estabrooks, who does guitar and vocals, and he used to play in another Fredericton metal band called Helm. They previously had a live album and an EP called Paradise Rots that came out in 2015. This is their first full album. Just came out a couple of weeks ago. This is what Thrash Naked magazine says about Cusser. Nuclear proliferation, school shootings, religious fanatics, and now this brand new record by Cusser. The world just got a little bit scarier. Cusser throws down ugly, violent death crust that drips with toxic sludge. There's no light here, no positivity or reason to hope, just a torrent of bitter pessimism that sounds like it wants to reach through your speakers and gouge out your eyes. In other words, you'll love it. So that's some pretty good accolades for a metal band, I think. And every word of it is true. Like, there's a real intensity in this music. There's a sense of things careening out of control, that everything's just racing faster and faster and faster towards ultimate doom. I think the song actually even speeds up as it progresses. That it's not on a click track, which that's something that tends to drain the energy out of a song. So no one can ever accuse Cusser of lacking energy. So we're going to listen to a tune off of their self-titled album, Cusser, called Buried Alive. That was Cusser, Buried Alive, off their self-titled album, Cusser. How's that for a wake-up call? I don't know why I haven't been playing any metal on my playlist. There's so much good metal out there in New Brunswick, lots of it in Fredericton, and especially in Moncton. Moncton is like a complete mecca of metal music. Maybe I've been worried that people won't find it palatable. I don't know. I love metal myself. Here's my theory, I think, why we should be playing more metal. People listen to a lot of terrible, terrible pop music. Why do they do that? I think it's because they hear it over and over and over again on the radio, and they hear it so much that the brain just becomes acclimated to it, and then they start craving it. It's like a drug, pop music. Listen to enough Katy Perry, and suddenly you're singing it in your car by yourself. So I'm going to do the same thing with metal. So we're going to play a couple of more metal tunes. We're going to play a couple of tunes coming up next by the two guys who are in Cusser, Tommy Blizzard and Matt Estabrooks. Let's move to Hard Charger, who is a band that Tommy Blizzard played drums in. They have an album called Bad Omens, came out in 2016 out of Fredericton. They're billed as a death metal punk band, and they enjoyed a lot of notoriety in the local and national music scene too. They had a pretty decent run from 2011 to 2016. Got 3 albums actually. Bad Omens is just their latest, but they have an initial album called Hard Charger, and then another one in I think 2014 called This Machine is Driving. On their Bandcamp page, they refer to their brand of music as crust and roll, as in shoe-wrecking, gas pedal mashing, F-U finger waving, right reckless and nihilistic rock and roll. So it's got Tommy Blizzard on drums, Dave Cook on the guitar, and Sean Smith on the bass. On their Facebook page, they refer to themselves as the Yeti, the Wolf, and the Hammer. I don't know which is which. I'm kind of guessing that Tommy Blizzard on drums is the Hammer, but could be completely wrong there. Maybe someone can inform me. Anyway, they were definitely like a touring band, so they toured all over Canada and all over the States, down into Mexico, and then, of course, they did the obligatory Metal European tour. There's certain countries in Europe that just love their metal. Of course, Germany, Netherlands, Belgium, France, the Czech Republic, Austria, all like havens of hard metal. So I can only assume that they were very well received. Interesting piece of trivia about Hard Charger is they released their albums on cassette. We had a little discussion about this a few weeks ago about bands in the 90s releasing their album on cassette because the reproduction costs of LPs and CDs were significantly higher, but you could get a little double tape deck and buy a bunch of blank cassettes and record all of your albums. As long as you had a half-decent master, you could record your own, and then bands would carry those around to their shows. And that was one of the main ways back in the 80s and 90s of distributing your music. So I think Hard Charger is taking up that anthem and continuing to release their albums on cassette. They're defunct now, unfortunately. They had a really good run, but their run is over now. Read a really good review on punknews.org. There's a lot of crossover between metal and punk and all of those kind of heavier genres. And anyway, punknews.org gave a I think this is a great line about Hard Charger. Hard Charger is a band that lives by a very basic songwriting formula that not enough self-proclaimed metallic hardcore bands are putting into good use. Start with a riff, plus riff, plus riff, plus riff, plus end with a riff equals a 1.5 minute song. And it's true, like most of the songs on this are less than 2 minutes. They've got like a 1 minute song. The one that we're going to play here called Slice by Slice is a minute and 45 seconds. As I was listening to this, there's kind of a refrain that goes through the song. Slice by slice, slice by slice. And it's kind of like a metal sing-along song in my head. I think, or I would like to entertain the thought that they intend us to sing along, and maybe if this was a live concert, they wouldn't sing slice by slice every single time. They'd maybe leave it out from time to time so the audience could sing along, and they would turn their mic toward the audience and pick up everyone fervently shouting slice by slice. So I think that as this song is playing, I will, and I think the listeners should also sing along. It's, a little bit tricky to remember. Here are the words, slice by slice. These are the lyrics that you're going to sing along. You'll know when you should sing it. Please do. Here we go. Hard Charger, album Bad Omens, the song Slice by Slice. Slice by slice. I hope you're singing along. I certainly was. So the third tune that we're going to play in our metal trilogy to wake you up on this rainy morning is the band Helm. So Helm is Mark Estabrooks from Cusser is in Helm. He's a guitar player. And Helm put out an album in 2011. They're out of Fredericton. Self-titled album. And they've got 3 members, so Mark Estabrooks playing the guitar and doing the voice, Tom Ripper the drums. I don't know, that might be Tom Blizzard, and he's also referred to as Yeti. So it could be that the 3 nicknames from Hard Charger, actually maybe Tom Ripper is Tom Blizzard, and he's not the Hammer, he's actually the Yeti. Kind of makes me laugh inside a little bit to think that they might have named their band after Levon Helm, but that's probably not the case. Anyway, let's listen to another quite short tune by the band Helm off their 2011 album titled Helm, and this is a song called Maximum Death in Minimum Time. Well, that was Helm on the album Helm with the song Maximum Death in Minimum Time. You gotta love metal, like it's a genre based on musicianship, playing your instruments as well and as hard as you possibly can. I don't know if, like Robert Johnson, they have to sell their soul to the devil, but there's at least a casual alliance with Satan involved somewhere in the creation of that music. So I think we're going to slow things down a little bit and play a song by Bleum, who is out of Fredericton. They got together, I think, in 2017. Local musician Brittany McQuinn and her longtime producer Daniel James, who worked together with her on the album Bold. It's kind of electronic, dark synth pop, and they actually just came out with a new single called Everything, but we're not going to play that. I was going to play that, went to their Bandcamp site, and then realized that they now have a radio-friendly version of the song Lose You. And if you're a regular listener to this show, then you may have heard a little rant that I went on about the CRTC not allowing us to broadcast certain words between certain times and how ridiculous that was. Well, I won't repeat my rant again, but nevertheless, we were unable to play a song that I wanted to play, and now we are able to. All of the supposedly bad words have been excised from it, and I don't think it makes it a better song for it, but it's still a pretty good tune. So let's listen to the song Lose You, the radio version, by Bleum.
Touch me. I don't really see why you do. You can judge me. I don't really care what you say. Just say it about me, not above me. Say it about me, not above me, baby. Why do I lose you? Crush me.
was Bleum with a radio-edited version of Lose You. I don't know about you, but I was singing the F-bombs along to Bleum. So we're going to move next to another Fredericton musician. This is just a brand new album that came out, an EP called Trip to the Moon by a young guy named Mitch Rayner. I think this guy's got a lot of promise. He's a singer-songwriter, sort of folksy, bluesy. The album's just vocals and acoustic guitar, but it's really tuneful. It's got a lot of soul in his voice, a little bit of grit at times, and his guitar playing, I find, is really melodic, and the playing really complements the vocal lines. So, it's a really good package. It's not completely polished. It's just kind of put out as a demo EP, but I think there's a lot of promise in this guy. I think he's going to be doing some really good music to come. I mean, even in a slightly unpolished version, this is a great album to listen to. We're going to listen to my favorite tune off of the album. It's called 7 Hours. Let's listen to Mitch Rayner from the album Trip to the Moon, the song 7 Hours.
Those 7 days were a week in paradise. Sparks were flying on their own. But you hopped in that time machine and you went back to the past. But it's your one and only home. But you went back to the west side. It looks like dark brown just made a new plain model. 'Cause when you wake up in the morning, I'm fast in bed. We're 7 hours different and we're stuck in our heads. Oh, my heart is the town, then you're the thunderstorm. You look so beautiful, but the things you touch become disasters. If you're my Juliet, I'm your Lysander, babe. We're written in the same pen, but our stories will never match. Oh, you went back to the west side. It looks like dark brown just made a new plain model. 'Cause when you wake up in the morning, I'm fast in bed. We're 7 hours different and we're stuck in our heads. Oh, time travel. Time travel. Time travel. My head, my head, my head. Oh no, I just cannot get you out. No. We can't be in love over a postcard or get married through a payphone call. Maybe someday I'll finally find how Marty McFly traveled through time so I can be with you. You went back to the west side. It looks like dark brown just made a new plain model. 'cause when you wake up in the morning, I'm fast in bed. We're 7 hours different and we're stuck in our heads. I said we're 7 hours different and we're stuck in our heads. Oh, time travel. Time travel. Time travel. My head, my head, my head. Oh no, I just cannot get you out.
Wasn't that a lovely tune? That was Mitch Rayner from his album Trip to the Moon, the song 7 Hours. So you're listening to Instant Breakfast NB, CHSR 97.9 FM with your host, John Heinstein. Next up is a guy named Matt Boudreau. And this guy came to my attention when I saw a mention on the Le Grenier website. And Le Grenier is a music label out of Moncton that plays predominantly Acadian artists, mostly from New Brunswick, but some also in Quebec and Nova Scotia. And it's a really good label, quality music. I don't think there's an artist on that record label that I don't absolutely love. And so when I saw on their website that they had listed a show featuring Chloe Bro, who we played last week, Christine Melanson, who we played a few weeks ago. She's an Acadian fiddler, and then Simon Daniel, we played a couple of his tunes, and then a fourth person, Matt Boudreau. So who is this guy, Matt Boudreau? If he's connected in some way with the Le Grenier label, then I should probably find out something about this guy. And so he does have a band campsite. He's living in Moncton right now, originally from Petit Rocher, which is kind of up in my old haunts, Dalhousie. So if you drive down the coast from Dalhousie to Bathurst, then Petit Rocher is almost to Bathurst. So he's got a really great voice. It's really deep and rich, and there's a lot of humor in his music. He kind of reminds me a bit of Pascal Lejeune or Tammie York, as he's going by now. And in fact, Matt says that that has been one of his major influences. Doesn't have a full album out yet. There are just 3 songs on his Bandcamp, but he has been playing for a couple of years. We're going to listen to a tune today called Carmoni. I Googled, of course, Carmoni, wondering whether that had any meaning, and it definitely does. There's this TV show. It was a weekly show that was on in the early 1990s on the Quebec Cable Sports Network, and it was called Défi Mini-Putt, which means mini-putt challenge. So mini-putt is a mini-golf. That's the French word for mini-golf. And this was the first professional miniature golf tournament to be regularly broadcast in Quebec. So it was an hour-long show. How it worked was that 4 competitors would play 18 holes of miniature golf. The first 6 holes were worth $50. The second 6 were worth $100. The final 6 holes were worth $150. And at the end of the season, there was a championship knockout tournament where the player with the highest score was eliminated after each hole. So basically it'd start out with 18 players and the one with the highest score, which is a bad thing in golf or mini golf. Player with the high score would get eliminated until there was just 1 player left. So the host of this was Carmoni. It was a very popular show. It ran for quite a while. We're actually going to play just a little tiny video clip here before we get into the Matt Boudreau song Carmoni, so you get a sense of the feel of the show. And this is a clip where we're on the 18th hole. This is the 1992 season. It's this last championship game. And if the competitor can make a birdie, they're going to win $1,100. So I'm going to play that clip, and then we're going to go immediately into the Matt Boudreau song, Carmoni. Enjoy.
Il a connu toutes sortes de difficultés, 3 birdies dans le match jusqu'ici, a eu des problèmes avec la vitesse, comme on l'a souligné, comme il l'a souligné. Mais, un coup, un birdie et c'est terminé, il se retrouve à finale. La montée. Birdie! Incroyable! Et Carmoni Regardez la réaction. Carmoni vient de faire son entrée en grande finale. Quelle fin de match! On va revoir la montée, la ligne parfaite, le birdie, 1100 $, 1250 pour le match, 1500 pour la saison. Le champion de la saison régulière 1991 sera au rendez-vous en finale 92. Oh!
J'ai jamais fait de one night stand. I guess que je sais pas comment faire, but everybody can. Je sais pas comment faire to be a man. Oh, j'ai jamais drivé de high-speed car, mais j'ai pas de gros truck dans mon garage. All the mojo is slipping from my hands. Dis-moi donc ton secret, dis-moi donc comment être parfait, dis-moi comment faire to get me a woman. Oh, bonne beauty, bonne bar, body hole in one. Tell me, call Carmoni, go, call Carmoni, go, 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 call Carmoni, go, call Carmoni, call Carmoni, go, call Carmoni, go, 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 call Carmoni, go, call Carmoni, go. J'ai fait un rock'n'roll show, mais mon guitariste, qui est un petit peu plus beau, il avait le regard de toutes les femmes sur sa guitare. Fait que je suis parti backstage, puis j'ai broyé ma vie. Tout ce que je veux, c'est d'aller juste pour une nuit. Fait que j'ai prié pour que tu viennes me parler. Oh yeah! Bonne baby, bonne bar, je suis pas les hole in one. Tell me, call Carmoni, go, call Carmoni, go, 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 call Carmoni, go, call Carmoni, call Carmoni, go, call Carmoni, go, 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 call Carmoni, go, call Carmoni, go!
That was Matt Boudreau with Carl Carmoni. That clip that we listened to, I realized as we were playing it that that was actually Carl Carmoni who was making that final birdie putt. I don't know how that show actually all worked out, but anyway, that was the man himself who was being sung about, who made that $1,100 birdie putt at the end of the show. Perhaps he was one of the contestants in all of those final championships. Anyway, there are a bunch of clips on YouTube about that show. It's a real interesting watch to see so much wonderful hype about a simple but thrilling game of mini golf. I actually found a list of the 18 holes that people had to play in order to participate in this challenge. So there's le totem, which is 3 12-inch totem poles. There's la croix, which is a course in the shape of a cross. There's la courbe, which is a slightly inclined curve. There's la disco, a sideways T-shaped course. There's le billard, which is a long rectangular course that was shaped, I guess, like a billiards table. Le hockey, an L-shaped course. La rivière, a ramp to jump over a river. Le putter, a U-shaped course. Le chameau, which had 2 steep hills. There's les trappes, a ramp which was bordered by 2 traps. Le carrefour, which is a Y-shaped course. Le slalom, 2 off-centered gentle hills. Les Laurentides, which had 3 steep hills, the Laurentide Mountains. Le zigzag, which is a stretched Z-shaped course. Le monstre, an irregular incline. La culotte, which was very similar to the le putter. L'équerre, which is a curved metal bracket that led to the hole. Le plateau, a steep 2 feet high incline. And the last, but not the least, 18th hole of Le Mini-Put was Le Maro, which is a volcano-shaped finale. I don't know if the ball got blasted out of the volcano at the end. Probably not. There was a little description of the course, and it said it was not like the extravagant American-style mini-golf courses with windmills. It was, your basic mini-golf course that relied on skill, not an excess of other things. Came right down to how good a mini-golfer you were. So we're going to stay in Acadian, New Brunswick for this next song, and this is actually a song from a show, it's a musical. And it's a musical that's written by our former Lieutenant Governor, Helm, who is a writer, amongst other things, also an artist. If you go to the Beaverbrook Gallery, at least the last time I was there a few weeks ago, there were a couple of Hermenegilde Chasson paintings there. They're pretty abstract paintings. They're in that same gallery as you'll see the Malseat canoe. So if you walk through the gallery, take a left, you'll see the canoe there, and then as soon as you walk into that gallery, take a right, and Hermenegilde Chasson's paintings are there. But now we're going to listen to something that he wrote. He didn't write all the music to it, so what he did was kind of collaborate with a number of Acadian musicians in New Brunswick. We've got a composer called Jean-François Mallet, and he did various arrangements of songs by Johnny Comeau, who is an Acadian fiddler. He was in a New Brunswick band called Caillouche. Then there's another well-known Acadian singer, Fayot. Then, of course, Les Païens, a jazz band from Moncton, great band. And then there's Jolene Richard and Denis Richard, who we listened to a couple of weeks ago. He passed away from cancer in 2017. That left us with some brilliant music, and he's considered one of the great Acadian songwriters, and for very good reason. So the name of this musical is Le Christ est apparu au Gun Club. So that's roughly translated as Christ appears at the Gun Club. And the song that we're going to listen to is called Dieu, nous reunira. God will meet us. Sounds like a very religious song, but it's actually a comedy. Roughly the story is that the protagonist, Conrad, has just quit his job as a Coke machine repairman, and he goes to the Gun Club, which is a bar, to celebrate his drinking. His ex, Veronica, is the bartender and serving him beer, and as the night goes on, the more everyone becomes convinced that Conrad is the Christ. I'm sure the booze had absolutely nothing to do with that. But anyway, it's apparently a great musical. It had a fairly short run. It played at the theater Les Coettes, which is a tiny little theater in Moncton, and also at Le Pays de la Sagouine, which is a festival out of Bucktouche. It's held on an island just off the coast of Bucktouche, and it was founded by the famous author Antonin Maillet, who was a writer and a playwright and a poet, and he wrote over 40 novels on the Acadians. I've never been to this festival, but I'm thinking it's a little bit like King's Landing, so it's a reenactment of Acadian culture. Le Pays is the island, and they have like a living village, and there's festival, music. This particular musical, Le Christ est apparu au Gun Club, was put on at Le Pays de la Sagouine in 2017. The singer in the song is singer and comedian Isabelle Willette. Let's take a listen.
Nous avons fait l'amour, nous avons fait la vie, et le temps est bien lourd dans mon âme aujourd'hui. Mais je sais bien qu'un jour Dieu nous réunira dans le ciel pour toujours. Tu seras dans mes bras. Je t'ai pris dans mon cœur. Pris dans mes bras, nous étions frères et sœurs de la vie au trépas. Nous avons fait l'amour, nous avons fait la vie, et je crie et je cours dans mon corps tout meurtri, mais je sais bien qu'un jour Dieu nous réunira dans le ciel pour toujours. Tu seras dans mes bras. Tu es parti trop loin. Je ne peux t'oublier. Mais dans tous mes refrains, je ne fais que pleurer. Nous avons fait l'amour, nous avons fait la vie, et le temps est bien lourd dans mon âme aujourd'hui. Mais je sais bien qu'un jour Dieu nous réunira dans le ciel pour toujours. Tu seras dans mes bras. Nous avons fait l'amour, nous avons fait la vie, et je cherche ton secours dans mes rêves désunis. Mais je sais bien qu'un jour Dieu nous réunira dans le ciel pour toujours. Tu seras dans mes bras.
So that was Le Christ est apparu au Gun Club, is the name of the musical, with a song called Dieu, nous reunira, God will meet us. And that particular tune was written by Jolene Richard. I wasn't able to find anything out about Jolene Richard, other than that she is a New Brunswick songwriter. So next we are going to dabble in some electronica, an album that came out in 2012 in Sackville by a fellow named Ian Malcolm, who is actually from Fredericton. Now, this is pretty groovy electronic music. The name of the album is Kristalloze, and the name of the song is A Smooth Tasting Planet. So it's, very much synth-based electronica, got some vocal synth effect, possibly a vocoder partway through. I think you're going to enjoy this. I really did. So let's listen to GrainMail with A Smooth Tasting Planet. That was GrainMail, Ian Malcolm, off the album Kristalloze, with the song A Smooth Tasting Planet. You're listening to Instant Breakfast NB, CHSR 97.9 FM. I'm your host, John Heinstein. Well, the hour is winding down, and we are going to play a couple of more tunes if we have time. We're going to start out with a band called Elusive Joy, J-O-I. Actual name is Julien Savoie from Negawac, and this is an album that he put out in 2012. The word joie is a French name, but if you read the liner notes, then Julien says that this is actually an anagram for his name. So if you rearrange the letters of Julien Savoie, then you get an elusive joie. So he has an album called Happiness is the End, and we're going to listen to a song called Sur la route. It's Acadian folk, very basic Acadian folk, right down to the nitty-gritty, acoustic guitar and voice. If we have time, we're going to listen also to a band called Heat Vision out of Sackville. Had an album in 2015 called Old Bones Tape. Heat Vision is Steve Haley, who we've listened to before. He's based out of Sackville for a while. I think he's now in Halifax with another band. And he's originally from Placentia Bay, Newfoundland. He's got a real Neil Young folk rock kind of vibe. Really, really like this guy's songwriting. So if we have time, we're going to listen to See Through You. So this has been Instant Breakfast, New Brunswick. Have a great day. And Elusive Joie from Happiness is the End, Sur la route.
J'embarque sur la route. Ça me fait pas de différence où j'y vais. Pourtant j'arrive en un morceau. J'irai là où le ciel est beau. J'emmène ma guitare, puis mon chandail préféré. Celui que t'aimes porter la nuit. Ta senteur s'efface avec la pluie. Je dois dire bye à mes parents. Puis on s'en verra dans quelques mois. S'ils se demandent pourquoi je m'en vais, tu leur diras c'est plate ici. Il s'en va écrire un hit. Et si je reviens pas, tu te souviendras de notre chanson, celle que je t'ai chantée si souvent. Et que je chanterai à toujours. J'ai dit bye à mes parents. Je vous ai jamais aimé autant.
It's like my brain has been crosswired.